When I pressed play on The Whale, I wasn't ready. I thought I was about to watch some kind of wholesome redemption story, maybe something heavy but tender. Instead, within the first 5 minutes, Darren Aronofsky throws us straight into the deep end. Charlie, a reclusive English teacher, obese and isolated, is introduced not through gentle sympathy but through a moment of brutal vulnerability, pornography, a heart attack, and the quiet panic of a man who refuses to call an ambulance. And yet, oddly, Moby Dick, not smut as I initially thought, but an old student's essay about it, becomes his anchor. The contrast is jarring, almost absurd, but it sets the tone. This isn't a story about dignity wrapped in comfort. This is about raw truth, faith, regret, and the desperate need for connection. The film is based on a stage play by Samuel D. Hunter, who also wrote the screenplay. Aronofsky kept the single location feel of the play, which is why most of the story takes place inside Charlie's apartment. This claustrophobia is intentional. It traps us with Charlie. What fascinated me was how Charlie's world closes in around him. His one steady presence is Liz, a nurse, a friend, and the sister of his late partner, Alan. Her anger at New Life Church is palpable, and it makes sense. This church, which preaches condemnation and weaponizes scripture, is part of what destroyed her brother and is what's destroying her best friend. At the same time, Charlie still eats fried chicken, binge after binge, despite knowing his body is giving up. It's painful to watch. The food becomes both his punishment and his comfort. He knows he's killing himself, but he doesn't believe life could ever get better. The prosthetics Brandon Fraser wore to play Charlie weighed over 300 pounds. He worked with the obesity community to ensure the role wasn't exploitative. Fraser said wearing the suit gave him a deep understanding of physical limitations, the way simple movements can become exhausting. This is one of the main things that I really enjoyed in this show. It's the intention behind everything. And with something like this, this type of play, it's very easy to take advantage of the communities that you're trying to portray. It's very easy to take advantage of the Christian community and paint it in the way most people view it. And that is, there's no love like Christian hate, right? And they could have taken advantage of that. They could have played around with that. But you'll see in the movie, they really don't. I think they try to portray the thing of we have this one perception of Christianity and then we just take it because of this group of people who have portrayed Christianity in this sense. But we haven't taken a moment to actually understand what Christianity is about. And it's the same thing with the obesity community. They could have taken advantage of this, just like how most Hollywood movies take advantage of the obesity community. But they don't. They put intention behind it. They go ahead and they do their research so that they make sure that whatever they are portraying, it's not going to now be an exploitation of these people. Yes, obesity is not good. It is bad. We need to find a way to combat it and help people. But again, it happens. And one thing that they are also tackling with obesity is how it came to be for him, specifically for Charlie. And for him, it came from eating, and it's also rooted around depression. Like Charlie is depressed and he finds comfort in eating, but it's the way he eats. Oh my gosh. It's the way he's eating the food that you're just there like, oh, or like what? Ugh. Like it's gross. Like it's gross. I'm so sorry. It's gross. Enters Ellie, Charlie's teenage daughter, and wow, Ellie is ruthless, strict, very manipulative, even cruel. But peel back her sharp edges, and you see a kid raised in pain, abandonment, confusion, and craving attention. Then there's Mary, Charlie's ex-wife. Their reunion feels messy but layered. She's bitter but not hateful. She admits her own child, Ellie, is evil, but in the same breath, she reveals just how much she still cares about Charlie. It's the complicated bond of two people who once loved each other deeply but were torn apart by betrayal, by truth, and by grief. Sadie Sink, who plays Ellie, really leaned into this harsh, unlikable teenager energy. She said in interviews that she knew audiences would hate Ellie, and that was the point. But Aronofsky wanted viewers to dig through that cruelty and recognize the vulnerability beneath. And you'll notice that this is another theme that Aronofsky is trying to portray in this show, and that is children of divorced parents. I think that's the right way of saying it, where they kind of end up and how they end up being. Like, we get to see the nasty side of Ellie, and it's constantly mentioned throughout the whole entire show that she was never like this. She really was a sweetheart. She was a great kid. But then after the divorce and everything, and Charlie just not being around anymore, and not being allowed to be around, or helping out, according to Mary, it ends up breaking Ellie. And at the same time, this is a thing of daughters who idolize their fathers. You idolize your dad is your first love, and then now this man just disappears, does not stay around. It kind of does something to you as a kid. It's a psychological shift as well. You're coming from a household where both your parents are there. Now you only have one parent, and now the parent that you're with is always crying, always angry, and then the parent you don't see, you don't hear about them, you feel like they have forgotten about you. So I really do like that the directors also came in and they just wanted to showcase this side of divorce and how it actually impacts the child. And this is one of the most realistic things that happen. The kid becomes very angry, and they just like very, very angry with the world because now their own safe space has been destroyed. So naturally they just think the world sucks, like the world does not give a damn and no one cares about me, because if my own dad cannot stick around for me, who's to say anybody else will? And we see that cruelty, but at the same time it's a plea, and it's a cry for help. Ellie is crying for help. She's crying for someone to notice her. This thing where a lot of teachers will just look at her like, oh, you're just attention seeking. Like, yes, the child is attention seeking because she has lost her way. She has no idea what's going on. The one person she trusted is no longer there. She is literally crying for help. She is going through a different type of depression that Charlie is going through. And this type of depression doesn't get mentioned quite a lot. And it's just because you seem like you're perfectly fine. Like, high functional depression is a real thing. And I also do think that a lot of kids who have divorced parents, they tend to have high functional depression. It's like they're not allowed to really be sad or upset about the one parent that abandoned them. They just have to keep pushing, because now the parent that stays kind of also like puts this pressure of like, it's only you and me, like you'll only be able to get through this world because I'm helping you. Like, that person doesn't care about you. Like, guys, it's a lot of stress. And I just like that they're portraying that cruelty, but Aronofsky is really trying hard to make sure that us, the viewers, can actually see that she's just a kid at the end of the day, and she's alone, and she's just looking for comfort. She's looking for anybody to recognize her cry for help and just kind of like step in and be like, hey, you're not alone in this, I've got your back. One of the strongest threads throughout this film is religion. Aronofsky doesn't shy away from showing how Christianity, when twisted by judgment, can destroy lives. Romans 1 verse 18 and 7 verse 21 appear. Verses often wielded as weapons against the LGBTQ plus community. The photo of Alan and Charlie with Charlie's face torn out becomes a metaphor: erasure, shame, disgust. And again, this is something that you see throughout the whole entire show, and this is why we are all just stuck in Charlie's apartment. And Charlie's apartment is not cute. I mean, it could be cute if, like, he cleaned up a little bit, but it's not cute. Like, it's disgusting. The way Charlie is, the way Charlie kind of behaves is disgusting. It's gross. You can tell that Charlie feels a lot of shame. So now you're also feeling a lot of shame. There's this disgust, there's this shame. Like, it goes throughout the whole entire film, and you're going to feel it, because throughout the film there was just certain scenes where I couldn't stop. Like, I'm thinking about the films. That's why my face is scrunched up like this, and I'm trying so hard not to gag, because like, there's just some scenes where you're like, why. Charlie embodies guilt. He apologizes constantly, convinced he is disgusting, unworthy, incapable of being loved. Yet, despite his self-loathe, he has a gift. He sees the good in everyone else. He encourages his students. He still believes in Ellie, even when she is cruel, and he tries to provide for her future. Suicide, in many ways, is framed not as selfishness, but as an ultimate act of letting go, a final attempt at honesty, release, and peace. Now, because we are mentioning suicide with this show, I do just want everyone who watches this to understand when it comes to suicide, don't ever blame the person that took their life. It's not on them. Most of the time, suicide is their only way of getting out. This is why I say the themes of depression in this show, they're very, very heavy, and they're showing different forms of depression. You know, Ellie's depressed, Charlie's depressed, Liz is depressed, you know, Mary's depressed, and then the other guy that I really didn't like because he just ended up becoming a useless piece of shit because he used the Bible and he used Christianity in a way that you're not supposed to do, okay? Like, they're all going through different types of depression, and unfortunately, yes, suicide happens. It's not good. The people left behind are always hurt. It's a very, very sensitive topic. But also, I just want everyone to always remember, when it comes to suicide, it is not the person who took their life. It's not their fault. They didn't do it out of hate. 9 out of 10 times, people who are taking their lives are not doing it out of hate. They're doing it to let go. They're doing it to feel free. They're doing it to basically be at peace. And it hurts us who are left behind because we have to deal with everything, with life without them. But I just do hope people can stop framing suicide as selfish. It is not a selfish act. It is always an act of letting go. I'm not encouraging suicide, but I do just want people to move away from thinking that suicide is a selfish thing to do. Those people were not just thinking about themselves. They were literally thinking about how life was going to be for everyone around them if they stayed in this state of mind. Because for them, they do not see a way out. They do not see that they're going to ever get better. So rather than making everybody else in their lives suffer because of themselves, they would rather take their life because they will be free of the pain that they're feeling, but they'll also be preserving the feelings of everybody else. Aronofsky isn't new to religious themes. He's the director of Noah and Mother. But in The Whale, he zooms in on Christianity's role in grief and shame. Instead of cosmic stories, he shows the quiet destruction religious judgment can bring to one person's life. The essay, that constant calming voice throughout the film, turns out to be Ellie's, written when she was younger. Suddenly, everything clicks. Ellie wasn't just angry, she was a child begging to save her dad, to pull him out of the pit he buried himself in. The final moments left me in tears. A man who thought he was unworthy, who believed his life was wasted, finds a silver redemption in the love of his daughter. Not in forgiveness, not in perfection, but in truth. Brendan Fraser's performance here earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor in 2023. It was his big comeback. Hollywood had sidelined him for years after personal struggles and injuries. Watching him embody Charlie felt like watching Fraser himself step back into the light. The Whale is not an easy watch. It's uncomfortable, even grotesque at times, but it's also deeply human. It asks us to confront compassion, judgment, and the way we weaponize faith. As a Christian myself, it struck me hard. The film reminded me that so many people use scripture as a sword when it was always meant to be a bridge. Christianity, at its heart, is love, empathy, and compassion, not condemnation. If you carry hate in your heart, then you are incapable of reflecting God's greatest commandment. Love thy neighbor as thyself. By the time the credits rolled, I didn't expect to cry, but I did, and maybe that's what makes The Whale powerful. It forces you to sit with the ugly truth, but also to recognize the quiet beauty of love and redemption. The Whale is a heavy, heartbreaking film that explores faith, grief, and empathy with brutal honesty. It's definitely worth the watch, but just prepare yourself emotionally and make sure you have some tissues. Anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you decide to watch the movie, let me know your take. Did you find it as interesting and as grotesque as me? I always love to hear about your thoughts and opinions, so please put it down in the comments and let me hear your take. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.